Hey guys, what's going on? Once again, welcome back. This is the 38th installment of my Road to WrestleMania series where I review WrestleMania. I review WrestleMania's every WrestleMania from 1 to 41. And this is the 38th edition of WrestleMania coming to you from Arlington, Texas on April the 2nd and 3rd of 2022. So let's get into it. What are the main storylines? Well, for one, the winner of the Royal Rumble in 2022. The Women's Royal Rumble is a returning to the WWE for the first time since 2019, since WrestleMania 35, is Ronda Rousey. After having a baby and after insulting WWE fans, her and Travis Brown had a kid, and insulting WWE fans, calling wrestling fake, and shitting on basically all the women who helped her put her there. She comes back, I guess, because she needed the money or whatever, and she wins the Royal Rumble, the Women's Royal Rumble. So she is your 2022 Women's Royal Rumble winner. And who wins the Men's Royal Rumble? Brock Lesnar. Ironically enough, Brock Lesnar had a match that same evening against Bobby Lashley. Brock Lesnar went against Black Lesnar. And I say that because after Lesnar left WWE in 2004, they kind of always were looking for his replacement. And since Bobby Lashley kind of looked like him, except for the black version of Brock Lesnar, and kind of had an amateur wrestling background as well, they went with him for a while, as we talked about. But Bobby Lashley retained the WWE Championship when Paul Heyman made his choice, because after Brock came back, after he lost to Drew McIntyre in 2020, he took off most of for a few months, and during that time, Heyman began to build an alliance and build a friendship with his new client, Roman Reigns, who is historically Brock Lesnar's main rival. They fought each other at two WrestleManias previously, 31 and 34. We talked about it. So now Paul had to make a choice. Paul is basically the Elizabeth in this, and Lesnar and Reigns are like Macho Man and Hulk Hogan. He had to make a choice. Initially, it looked like Reigns turned on him. You know what I mean? It looked like his choice was already made. He was going with Brock, but here in this match, Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley, he turns on Brock Lesnar and allows Bobby Lashley to retain. Bobby Lashley then loses the WWE Championship to I believe it was. Hold on, let me double check, guys. I believe it was. Big E. Big E was the champion before this, and Brock Lesnar beats him at Elimination Chamber, and Lesnar now is the WWE champion going into this event, facing Roman Reigns, who is the Universal champion. So this is a title for title clash going back to AT&T Stadium. What else is going on? Well, there are a lot of other returns. This is the WrestleMania of returns. This is the return of Brock Lesnar to WrestleMania, the return of Ronda Rousey to WrestleMania, and the return of two bigger returns in those guys. One is Cody Rhodes. We have not seen Cody Rhodes in the WrestleMania mix in the WrestleMania series since 2016, since the last time we were in AT&T Stadium. But in a storied career, you have those moments in wrestling where everything just comes together so perfectly. He leaves. He has his last WrestleMania match in 2016 when they were at AT&T Stadium, and now he has his next WrestleMania match in 2022 at AT&T Stadium, and it was magnificent. But we'll get into it. But his story basically was that after he left the WWE, he went to the Indies, and he proved himself as an indie star, reinventing himself, moving away from Stardust, and basically becoming, as Pat McAfee said, from undesirable to undeniable, basically. And he made a bet with Dave Meltzer. Dave Meltzer said that no promotion could sell 10,000 tickets other than the WWE. And Cody Rhodes said, "You're on. I'll prove you wrong." And he did. He did. They organized the event All In, and then trademarks were filed for a brand new promotion. And they launched this brand new promotion in 2019 called All Elite Wrestling, because Cody Rhodes and the Young Bucks were called the Elite, a subset of the Bullet Club. They were called the Elite, and they organized all this group, All Elite Wrestling, and it was a brand new promotion. It was the first promotion in wrestling history never to be associated with the NWA. It was brand spanking new, and Cody Rhodes was, a high executive in it. But come 2022, he was very dissatisfied with the way that AEW was being managed, with the way that Tony Khan, the head of AEW, was not taking control of the roster. There was infighting between himself and other executives. And he decided, he and his wife Brandy, she's the chief branding officer, to leave the company. So here the founder of the company is jumping to the competition back to WWE. It was truly a remarkable story. And crazy. And it begins here. Another person that returned and wrestled a match was Stone Cold Steve Austin. For the first time since WrestleMania 19, way back in 2003, Stone Cold Steve Austin returned. So this was a WrestleMania of returns. And David is absolutely correct. Cody Rhodes beat Seth Rollins 4 times. So the storyline behind Cody was that he did not have an opponent Seth Rollins did not have an opponent for WrestleMania. So he went to Vince McMahon's office and he begged Vince McMahon for an opponent. Vince said, you have a surprise opponent, but you have to wait until you have to wait until WrestleMania. So that's where we are. David says Kevin Owens was so stupid against Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yeah, we'll get there, David. It was an impromptu, no holds barred match. And Vince McMahon returned to the ring as well, which was another stupid match. Vince McMahon versus Pat McAfee was all over the place. There was a lot of shenanigans type matches on this show. Johnny Knoxville and Sami Zayn was one too. Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn. We open up with the Usos, now part of the bloodline, cemented in the bloodline as champions of SmackDown, going against Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs. Now, this match, Rick Boogs got hurt. He tried to do a move on one of the Usos and he got hurt by accident, and they had to call an audible, you know, and get him out of there. Drew McIntyre defeated Happy Corbin with Madcap Moss, and Madcap Moss also won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Uh, the Miz and Logan Paul defeat Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio by pinfall. Yeah, Logan Paul is back. He's finally doing something. He's finally wrestling this time. Logan Paul was, of course, the brother of Jake Paul, former Disney show star. In the early 2020s, they started boxing, and Logan Paul had a boxing match in 2021 with Floyd Mayweather that was retarded, stupid. And his brother Jake Paul has had a bunch of other fake boxing matches with MMA guys and like Tyron Woodley and Ben Askren and over the hill Mike Tyson recently on Netflix, last year. But that's Jake Paul. But Logan Paul has really thrived in wrestling, in professional wrestling. And this was the beginning of him in wrestling. And at first he was, but Miz and him score the win, but Miz turns on him at the end of it and gives him a skull-crushing finale for his trouble. Bianca Belair avenging her loss at SummerSlam to Becky Lynch, who she defeats by pinfall. And then we finally get Cody Rhodes versus Seth freaking Rollins. Man, this was the beginning of Seth's crazy outfits each and every year for WrestleMania. And this was no exception. But he comes out, nobody comes out. Nobody, and you're like, well, who can this be? And for a minute there, I thought, oh my God, Undertaker. I thought, oh my God, Undertaker just couldn't give it up. He's gonna wobble out there, and he's gonna be Seth Rollins' opponent here at WrestleMania 38. But no, it was Cody Rhodes, and this was my first time seeing Cody Rhodes in the way that he is now as the American Nightmare. I didn't watch AEW. I never watched AEW ever. So I was coming in new in terms of what Cody Rhodes was, his presentation, his song, which I fell in love with. After this WrestleMania, I played this song over and over, freaking for days upon days. My kingdom. I was just in love with this whole thing. It was a great match. And these two had amazing chemistry. Cody Rhodes won. Now we get to Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey. Now, this match sucked. You know what I mean? And David says John Cena will win his 17th championship at WrestleMania 41. We shall see, David. This match, Charlotte Flair versus Ronda Rousey, sucked balls. Ronda Rousey, I heard, pitched a bitch to Bruce Pritchard backstage that she didn't go on last. Bitch, you have Stone Cold Steve Austin and Cody Rhodes returning. You're not that important. You know what I mean? Like, no, we're not having you go on last. And you're not taking Stone Cold Steve Austin's spot. You know what I mean? Like, you mean a lot to the world, but Stone Cold Steve Austin means hell of a lot more to wrestling fans than you. So, no, you're not going on last. Sorry. This is not 2019. This is 2022. Times have changed. you're not as important as you once were. Okay, you're not going on last. Sorry. And she lost. And then finally, Stone Cold Steve Austin in an impromptu match against Kevin Owens. David said he did not like this match, but I disagree with him. This match was awesome to me. It brought back a lot of feels. I was a huge Stone Cold mark as a kid. I saw Stone Cold's whole rise. I ordered that pay per view the night of King of the Ring 1996. It was it was emotional, man. When Kevin Owens calls him out for the KO show, and then he says he challenged him to an impromptu match, and Austin is there, and Austin stuns Byron Saxton. I mean, again, the emotions. What I mean? The emotions. Seeing Austin again, seeing him kind of wrestle, what I mean? Seeing him kind of get back into the groove of it. It was something great. You know what I mean? And it was Stunner versus Stunner, him versus Kevin Owens. David didn't like it, but I did. We disagree on that. Night two, Arcade Bro, Randy Orton and Riddle, which is a very good team. They retained the championships against the Street Profits, Alpha Academy, and Alpha Academy. Coach Gable, get the tables, as Otis would say, copying Bubba Ray, but Dave Dudley. Bobby Lashley defeated Omos by pinfall. This was Black Hogan and Andre. This was a muscle bound guy versus a giant. Nothing to see here. Bobby Lashley really fell from grace in this. And anything goes match with jackasses Johnny Knoxville and Sami Zayn. This match was insane. You saw everything from Mae Young's child appeared on this show. The late Mae Young's child appeared in this fucking match. The hand that Mae Young gave birth to, that Mark Henry was the father of, way back in the day during the Attitude Era, appeared on this fucking match. You saw everything good. And the takeaway from this is that Sami Zayn, he was in this conspiracy theorist mode at this point. He became a star, and they pushed him to the moon for the rest of 2022, going into 2023, and we will see how his character evolves in his involvement with Roman Reigns and the Bloodline and the Uso brothers, how they evolve, and Sammy becomes a part of that storyline. So much so that even though they already had it cemented that Cody would take on Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 39, some people were begging for Sammy to be the one to dethrone Roman, because at the Elimination Chamber in Montreal, I know I was, because that's how over Sammy became. It was a real Cinderella story for Sammy. Sasha Banks and Naomi defeat Carmella and Queen Zelina. Yeah. This match was whatever. We're seeing the introduction of the women's tag team championships. Sasha and Naomi were successful, so I guess Sasha does have a WrestleMania win under her belt. But again, she threw another temper tantrum in the back. Not this time, not at WrestleMania, but later on in the year. And her and Naomi, as tag team champions, they staged a walkout that eventually happened. That Naomi jumped to TNA, and then came back, and Sasha didn't come back, and she jumped to AEW. I was a fan of hers, but when she ever got her way, she acted like a child. So especially with that walkout business. Edge defeated AJ Styles by pinfall. This Edge and AJ Styles match was really good, really, really good. Um, they had a I enjoyed this. Sheamus and Ridge Holland with Butch defeat New Day. New Day is fading from the scene fast. Pat McAfee defeated Austin Theory, McMahon's handpicked guy, Vince McMahon's handpicked guy, and you had an impromptu match between Pat McAfee and Vince McMahon. And the germ of this was Vince McMahon, days before WrestleMania, appeared on Pat McAfee's podcast and kind of issued a challenge to Pat McAfee. And this match was crazy. It was all over the place. Vince McMahon took a stunner from Stone Cold Steve Austin. You can see that he was getting up in age because it was one of the worst. It was one of the worst stunners ever. And Pat McAfee, after it, was sitting there in the corner just drinking beers. It was a crazy match, like it was all over the place. To another match that was all over the place. And then finally, Roman Reigns, Universal Champion with Paul Heyman against Brock Lesnar, WWE Champion. Yeah. This match sucked. This was the worst. Well, no, it wasn't the worst of their trilogy. 34 was the worst, but this was the second worst. They only really had one good one. They've had other good matches at other events, particularly SummerSlam 2022. Their Last Man Standing match was good, but as far as WrestleMania, no. This wasn't it, but Roman wins, and Roman is now your undisputed champion, combining the Universal Championship with the WWE Championship. And that's what we will have until the World Heavyweight title becomes a thing the following, in the future. And the World Heavyweight Championship, the new World Heavyweight Championship gets defended at WrestleMania 40, which we will be talking about. But that's the end of WrestleMania 38. What I think of it, I thought it was mediocre. I liked a lot of it, particularly night one. Night two was funny. The Pat McAfee versus Vince McMahon thing was stupid. But it became a way, they didn't know it then, but it became a way to cap off an era, the era of Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon, because this is the last WrestleMania ever to have Vince McMahon having supreme creative control. Because after this, Vince McMahon would step down in the middle of 2022 amid supposed at that time allegations, sexual impropriety. But he would find his way back in through a merger that we will talk about in the next episode, and then he would find his way back out due to that whole thing resurfacing, and he still has not returned. But during the time when he stepped down, Triple H took over creative. So Triple H will have the creative going into WrestleMania 39. So this is the end of Vince McMahon. We won't see him ever again on the WrestleMania series, and I doubt we'll ever see him in the future. And is it an end for Ronda Rousey, I believe, and an end for Brock Lesnar, and an end for many people. We'll see Brock Lesnar again at WrestleMania 39, but I'm saying as far as being in the main event, we won't be seeing Brock Lesnar ever again. You know, but as for Vince McMahon, this is the end for Vince, the end of the road for Vince, both as a character and as a behind the scenes executive, the man that created WrestleMania, the man that created the concept of WrestleMania, is now no longer a part of it after this. So, once again, WrestleMania 39, WrestleMania goes Hollywood once again with The Miz as host. Who else to host a WrestleMania that's going Hollywood but The Miz? You know, join me for WrestleMania 39 review. Thank you, David, for contributing once again. And we will see the two stars of this WrestleMania, Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, will take on each other for the first time at this event, at the next WrestleMania, WrestleMania 39 in Los Angeles. Peace, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. We're getting to the very end, guys. We have two more left, WrestleMania 39 and WrestleMania 40, and that's it.